This is Ghost Parade. This is a level 3A Halloween solo by Nancy Faber. So this is early intermediate, late elementary, a really fun piece in 6/8. I'm going to play it first at performance tempo, and then I'll give you some practice tips. All right, that is it. That's Ghost Parade. This is what it looks like if you buy the single sheet. And I'll go over a few things that I would, do this way with my students if we were starting this piece to get ready for Halloween. First off, we're going to look at the key signature and the time signature. So key signature first, you want to look at the beginning of the piece, and in fact, the beginning of each row would have the same information. You're looking for flat signs or sharp signs right here in this little area. And if you don't see any, no flats or sharps marked in the key signature, then you're either going to be in the key of C major or A minor. And you might have guessed by the sound of the piece that it was in a minor key because it had kind of a spooky sound going on. Minor keys sometimes kind of come off that way, and major keys would sound a lot happier, like that's a difference. That would be C major, and this is A minor. Or this would be A major. It's totally different, right? That sounds like you're going to a birthday party, and A minor sounds like you are, I don't know, going to a Halloween parade or a Halloween party, something like that. So we're in the key of A minor. You can also verify this by looking at the final measures of the piece and look at what chord or note is being played, especially in the left hand for that really final sound. If the final note is an A, in this case it is, it's the next to the lowest A on the keyboard, so not the first white key, but the A up from there. Since that is this very final sounding note, then we can guess, we're pretty sure that we're in the key of A minor here because it wouldn't end on A unless it really needed an A to sound complete. And that's one way that a tonic note will lend its value to the song. It will help it sound complete. Okay, so now going to the time signature. Our time signature is 6/8. And so if there is an 8 on the lower part of the time signature, that means the 8th note gets 1 beat. And that's what we have here. And the top number in the time signature tells us how many beats are in a measure, which is 6. So typically in 6/8, you'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you can do that here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. However, at the top of the piece, the editor has marked Ghostly March Tempo in 2, and if it says in 2, that means you want to take it a little faster, fast enough so that you would count it just 1, 2, 1, 2, like that. So you could go a little faster. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You could probably go even faster still if you're, thinking of marching legs and how fast you would need your feet to move. You could do it like that, and that would be like a march. Think of your feet. Da 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 da. That would work. So 6/8 or counting in 2. So when you count in 2 and the time signature is 6/8, just imagine the measures being split in half. The first 3/8 notes are going to be beat 1, and the second 3/8 notes are going to be beat 2. Or the first half of the measure is beat 1, the second half of the measure is beat 2. You can kind of think of it like that. So for instance, if you look at measure 17, that's where these chords start coming in. Right? So the first chord would be 1, the second note would be 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 2 on that rest. So that's pretty much all there is to counting in 2. It's pretty simple. It's easier to count 1, 2 than it is to count up to 6 in every measure. Then another important part about this piece is the articulations. We have a lot of legato, staccato, and accent marks throughout here, and we really want to play those up so that they get to contribute their value to the piece, which is, you know, providing different textures. Of course, the left hand starts off staccato, and that, I don't know, it really gives a lot of character to this piece. It kind of makes it sound a little suspenseful and spooky, like this little tiptoeing. And it also provides a kind of more of a marching feeling. You know, think of those feet pumping up and down, marching, dump, 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 like that. Staccato really adds to that. So nice and light. To play staccato, all you have to do is press the keys quickly and then lift your fingers up so they're not holding down anymore, as if the keys are really hot and you don't want to burn your fingers. Just a really quick, light touch. There was an accent mark in that last phrase, here. You can hear it if you just press that key with the note with the accent mark above it, which is the little partial triangle. It looks like a greater than sign. Just press it a little harder, slightly louder, so that it stands out more and people can tell that that beat or that particular note is a little more important than the other notes. There's another accent right there. Accent. So you just stress the note a little bit by pressing it heavier with more pressure, more weight, a little louder. And then the right hand starts off legato, staccato. There's a combination, legato, quick. So when the right hand is playing legato and this left hand is playing staccato, you have a mix of textures and it just creates a more interesting sound. It's like, oh, this piece, this has a lot going on with it. It's kind of cool. So it's also challenging to play that way, but if you can master this, your skills will improve greatly because you're playing 2 different articulations at the same time. Legato here, staccato here. Practice slowly. I'm doing something else there in measures 3 and 4. I'm doing a crescendo and a diminuendo while all these other things are going on. So here's the crescendo. I start soft, loud, loud, soft. Crescendo, diminuendo. Forte. There's a lot going on here. So I recommend you start slowly practicing this piece, very slowly in fact. You can even start like, right? Just to make sure that your left hand is truly staying staccato. That's one of the hardest things, I think, when you've got this legato in the right hand and all those fingers have to stay pressed down and then you're trying to do the opposite with your left hand. If you're anything like me, that can be a bit of a challenge. So I do recommend starting off slowly. The dynamics are also super important in this piece. They add so much, and if you're playing every note in this piece just plain old mezzo forte, it's not going to sound anywhere near as cool as it could if you were paying attention to the dynamics. So make sure you're really watching those. Start off piano, nice and soft, and then here you get louder, softer, and then boom, forte. Soft, loud, soft, soft, forte, then forte here, stay forte, right? And one other thing I want to cover is this crossing over section at measure 25. So you're here kind of in this A 5-finger scale, left hand, right hand plays an arpeggio A minor chord, and And then left hand crosses over right here. So anytime you see LH, that means left hand. And it doesn't tell you to cross over, but the note written for the left hand to play is this F, and the only way you can really play that is to, you know, in time on the correct beat, is to cross over your right hand. So just go ahead and do that, holding down the pedal here. Cross it, and while you're playing these notes, bring your right hand out to its next place. And then you do that again. Right hand out. Now, how did I know that I had to keep moving my right hand up? Because the notes look like they're in the same place in the staff. Well, if you look above measure 29, you'll see this sign that says 8VA, and that stands for ottava, which means you go an octave higher. And all under that 8VA and then the dotted line or the dashed line, all of that is going to be an octave higher than written. It doesn't necessarily mean an octave higher than where you just were, although in this case it does mean that because that is where we just were, but it means an octave higher than the way it's written. So the A that this starts on is in the second space of the treble clef. That would be this A. This is middle C. So that would be this A. So I know that I'm supposed to be an octave higher than that. So I'm supposed to be right here. My left hand crosses over, and then right hand. And they give you this nice fermata so you can turn the page. And then in measure 33, it says 15 MA. Well, that means 2 octaves higher, 2 octaves higher. It's not 16 because you don't count that middle, that repeating note that you would get, you know, the tonic note, counting the octave. So if you count from A up like 2 A's higher, you'll see that it's only 15 keys. And then you keep your hand way up there, 2 octaves higher than written, but your left hand doesn't have that sign. Your left hand is still back where it normally is on this lower A. Oh, double P, really quiet. Still 2 octaves higher, loud. And then you want to follow the octave signs as you're coming back down. Measure 41, you're still up 2 octaves higher. Then you come down only 1 octave higher than written. And then in measure 43, it says as written, so that means you don't need to count any octaves up. You're just going to play the notes where they are written on the staff. And then you get one more with the fermata over it, so hold it nice and long. And then just 4 more measures to the end. It's kind of a repeat of what you've done, except here. So sharping some notes there, like a melodic minor scale, sharping the 6th and the 7th, which is kind of fun. Changes the character a little bit at the end, and I love running into instances of the melodic minor scale in a piece. It's a good teaching tool, so you get to see it in action. So that is Ghost Parade. It's one of my favorite Halloween pieces to give to my students. I love giving out special music at Halloween, because it's, you know, some people really like playing Halloween music. It's just full of character. And I don't know, some people love Halloween. So if you have any students that love it, or if you love it, make sure you give the Faber's Halloween series a try. It's super fun. Thanks for watching.